So today I wanted to speak about one of the greatest ways that people, especially women, give away their personal power. And the way that most people lose their power is through the need to please. So 30 odd years ago, I founded CTC, the 2-hour life-transforming combined therapy cocktail, which at its birth stood for Cut the Crap. Great name, and a lot of people still call it that, by the way. So after 3 decades of working with people at the deepest subconscious level, the one thing that I know to be absolutely true is that beneath so many emotional issues is a deeply held feeling of not being good enough. Now, it might not be something that you consciously think about. You might not walk around saying it often. This way, Miss Marla, let's go this way, darling. But it can behave, it's basically a quiet driver, right? And it comes through in the choices that you make, in what you will and won't tolerate, and the way in which you give yourself away. So we all have different drivers or ways in which we play that out throughout our lives. And for many people, and the most common, especially for women, is by needing to please. Women have been taught for generations to serve. Women have been taught to care, to accommodate, to be the good girl, to be the person that keeps, this way, sweetheart, to keep everybody happy, to put themselves last, and somehow call it love. And this is a pattern that usually begins when we're very young. You may have learned that people pleasing, there's lots of logs. People pleasing means that you're a good girl, right? Maybe it's what earned you praise. Perhaps being quiet avoided conflict. Perhaps sensing what everybody else needed kept you safe. Perhaps you believed that being easy, useful, undemanding made you more lovable. Then, of course, you went to school and the pattern continued. You tried to please people so they would like you, so they would include you, so that they would stay your friend, so that you wouldn't be rejected, criticised, or left out. And then you entered intimate relationships. And perhaps you began pleasing to keep the peace, to keep them happy, to make sure they continue to love you, to keep them from leaving you. You said yes when you wanted to say no. You stayed silent when something hurt you. You maybe changed what it was that you wanted and the way you wanted it. You softened your truth. You stopped speaking up. Miss Mar, we're going to stop for a minute. Maybe you made excuses for other people's behaviour. You became who you thought the relationship needed you to be. And slowly you lost yourself in the process. Maybe you became so focused on reading everybody else that you stopped reading yourself or listening to yourself. You knew what everybody else needed, but you no longer knew what it was that you needed. Maybe you knew what would make everybody else comfortable, but you no longer asked what it was that was true for you or what would make you comfortable. And sometimes you gave so much for so long that everybody around you became accustomed to receiving it. They became used to or expected your availability, your help, your flexibility, your emotional labour, your ability to fix everything. And now you are the one that feels resentful. But often you don't express that resentment because you might disappoint somebody, right? So you swallow that too. And the pattern does what? The pattern continues. So this is where so much personal power is lost. But I want you to make I want you to really look at what it is you do, and I want to be clear about something. There is a massive difference between wanting to please and needing to please. When you genuinely want to do something for somebody, it gives you energy. It makes you feel alive. It feels joyful. It feels loving. It fuels you. There is a sense of freedom in it. You're choosing it, right? You're not doing it to earn approval or to prevent rejection. Let's go this way, sweet girl. You're doing it because it is true for you. I need a clear path, darling, so I don't trip. Good girl. So you do it because it feels true for you. But needing to please feels something entirely different. Needing to please is driven by fear. Miss Mila, let's walk on this for a minute, darling. Good girl. It comes from fear. Fear that they will be angry. Fear that they might judge you. Fear that people might withdraw from you. Fear that they will perhaps leave you. Fear that you will no longer be seen as good. So because of that, you say yes when your whole body is in fact screaming no. And every false yes costs you so much personal power. Every time you betray your own no, what you're doing is you're teaching yourself that everybody else's needs matters more than your truth. Every time you override your body, you weaken your relationship with yourself. Every time you abandon yourself to remain loved, you in fact reinforce the belief that being yourself is not safe. And that's why people pleasing is so exhausting. It's not only the task that drains you, it's the inner conflict that in fact drains you a hell of a lot more. So what's actually happening? One part of you is saying, I don't want to do this. In fact, it's screaming, I don't want to do this. And the other part is saying, but I have to. I have to do it because if I don't do it, then something bad might happen. And it's that internal battle that drains you. It drains your life force. And then resentment enters. Not necessarily because the other person asked too much, but because you are the one that continues to give what was not true for you to give. This is why we spoke about this in She Rises. We spoke about the holy no, because a woman who can't say no can't fully trust her yes. Your no ends up protecting your yes. Your boundaries protect your love, especially for self. And choosing yourself does not mean that you stop caring about other people. It means that you stop disappearing in the process of caring about other people. You can absolutely be loving without abandoning yourself. You can be generous without depleting yourself. You can support people without having to rescue them all the time. You can serve without becoming a servant to everybody else's expectations. And you have to remember that you always have a choice. It might feel like you, it might feel as though you didn't have a choice when the pattern began, but you can still choose now. Your subconscious might still believe that if you say no, people will get upset. That if they're upset, then perhaps that means that you're not safe. I mean, there might be a whole lot of stories that go on for you. Perhaps you believe that if you disappoint them, that you will lose love. But you have to understand that that's an old program and hasn't really served you. You're no longer that little girl whose safety depended upon keeping everybody else happy. You are a woman who can pause, who can find her power in this moment and ask, am I doing this because I genuinely want to, or am I doing it because I'm afraid not to? And that question alone can return so much power to you. Before you say yes, just stop for a minute. Feel what's in your body. Notice whether the answer feels expansive and free to you, or does it feel heavy and contracted and something you feel you absolutely should do. You don't need to answer immediately. You can buy yourself some time. You can say, you know what, let me think about it for a moment. let me check what I already have on and I'll get back to you. I'll come back to you. There's no issue in saying that and buying yourself some time. You are absolutely allowed to create space between the request and your response. That space is where your power lives, when you give yourself a moment. And there's another practice that honestly and truly has been life-changing for me. It is one of my favourite things, and I want you to keep saying it until it is your absolute truth. But I want you to affirm and make this your truth. What I do is not from me, but through me. And for me personally, what that means is that I am not trying to give from a limited personal supply, from my organs, my personal energy. I am one with God, source, divine intelligence, whatever name feels true for you. I remember that I am not the origin of power, but I am the conduit for power. And when I am truly aligned, what moves through me can nourish me just as much as it nourishes others. So as I give, I also receive. And there's an important distinction here too. This affirmation is not a reason to ignore exhaustion. I'm not telling you to keep pushing through when everything feels bad. No, yuck, Mila. It's not, a spiritual excuse to keep overgiving, because you do need discernment. But, and it doesn't replace boundaries, rest, or the honest no. So let's be clear on that. Because if you are giving from fear, obligation, or self-abandonment, you're still not honouring yourself. So now that I've got that out of the way, no more overriding yourself, please. So back to the affirmation. This practice works when the giving is aligned, when the yes is genuine, when your heart is open and your body is not being betrayed. Mila, let's go this way, sweet girl. So again, that affirmation is, what I do is not from me, but through me. And if you like, you can actually add to that. So, goodness, Mila, this way. So, for example, what I do is not from me, but through me. I am always connected to an unlimited source of love, of wisdom and power. As I give, I receive. As I serve, I am supported. As life moves through me, it also restores me. So try it. Try it, not as empty words. Feel it as you say it. Make it your absolute truth. Feel yourself plugging into something greater than your own effort, because you were never meant to carry the entire world using only your personal life force. But neither were you meant to hand your power away in the name of being good, especially being the good girl. Mila, careful, darling. Your role is absolutely not to please everybody. Your role is to remain in relationship with your own truth. Sometimes your truth will say yes, and yes can feel beautiful. Sometimes your truth will say no, and that no is equally as sacred. So this is the work that we really take a deep dive inside the I Am Woman program. Mila, this way, please. Mila, come on. We explore the subconscious patterns that taught women to earn love, to stay agreeable, to be useful, to silence their needs and abandon themselves in order to feel safe. Because people-pleasing is not simply a habit, it's often an identity that's been built around belonging. And changing it requires more than just telling yourself to set boundaries. It requires deep healing. It requires healing the part of you that believes that love will disappear when you do. It requires learning that another person's disappointment is not proof that you have done something wrong. It requires becoming willing to be misunderstood rather than continually betraying yourself. So today, I want you to ask yourself, where am I wanting to please because it brings me joy? And where am I needing to please because I'm afraid of what will happen if I don't? When a divine goddess stands in her magical power, you feel the difference. You truly do. And in that space where you are your authentic self, where you are standing in your power, magic happens. You come back to self, and you live in a state that is in alignment with abundance, with magic, with all that you desire. When you honour you, when you value you, the world honours and values you too. And you find yourself attracting to yourself incredible synchronicity, so much magic, so many blessings, and literally everything that you desire, because now you are attracting to yourself what you do want, not what you don't want. When you honour you, power returns every single time. Much love to you all.